Welcome back to part 2 of the initial setup for the STV CNC plasma table. We got the Sparks Pro 4x4 table here. In this quick video, I'm going to show you my computer table that I built. I got the computer, monitor, the table, everything, all on my own. Very simple to do. It'll save you several $100s. So first and foremost, the stand, the table, the desk, whatever you want to call it. It's got 4 lockable caster wheels, pivoting, swiveling wheels, so it's really easy to move around. You can put your foot down there and then turn this. It does have this lever. You hold that. You can set it all the way down to the floor, so if you do want to sit on like a folding chair or something, I got it so that I have this big stool I can sit on. So you will see we got 2 layers here. I mounted the computer up underneath. There's a little bracket that comes with this computer that I screwed into the bottom side of the table, and then this basically slides onto it. So I'll turn that on so you can watch in real time how long this computer takes to boot up. But as far as everything else goes, this just clamps on. I did buy this swiveling mount because obviously the computer monitor is going to come with like a leg stand that sits on here, and you know how quickly that thing's going to just fall off and, you know, crack the screen. So this actually clamps on, comes back. You can swivel this left and right. You can tilt this up and down and swivel left and right, the whole 9 yards. The only thing I had to do on here is I took this screw all the way out, and then I put it in through the opposite side on this angle bracket, because it comes the other way, and then I think it's like that thick of a table's the minimum thickness you could clamp to, which is a really thick table. All you have to do is thread this all the way out. There's a Phillips retainer screw you take out, flip it around. So the computer's booted up. So there you go. Here's how quick it loads. Go right into my plasm. There you go. You're ready to rock and roll. So they call this a solid state computer. It's just a little tiny brick. And this one meets all the requirements that STV gives. I actually have a gaming laptop that doesn't even have these specs. So I don't know how accurate the specs are, since it's obviously a cheapo Chinese computer. But it's nice because you have your 2 USB ports up front. So if you're plugging a thumb drive in, you have an accessory, whatever the case may be. Here on the back side, you do have 2 USB ports, 2 HDMI ports, an Ethernet port, headphone audio jack output, and then your power. So I plugged in the USB cable that goes to the control box over there, and then I was able to get this mouse keyboard combo. They're wireless, and they only have 1 USB dongle instead of 2. So that helps out, because otherwise we would have had to use one of these front ports. Now we can keep 2 ports open on the front. So I will put, obviously, the link in the description for everything I used here. The keyboard mouse combo, the monitor, the stand, the computer, the USB cable. That's basically it. So when you're trying to hook your computer up, you're going to notice that you get this really short cable. It's not quite 5 feet. That plugs into the control box and goes over to your computer. And that's just not enough length to be able to really comfortably get away from the table and sit at your computer. So I hopped on Amazon, grabbed a 15-foot printer cable, and after speaking with STV, they said make sure you get a cable that's shielded. So I got this guy. So you want to make sure it's got one of these on there. They want your cable to be shielded so that it does not pick up some of that dirty noise that you're going to get when you have a longer cable. They said if your cut quality starts to diminish or you start to have weird issues, this cable is actually considered a consumable part, so you may have to replace this every once in a while. So I'll put a link in the description for this specific cable because it took me about 3 tries to get one that actually showed up the way it looked in the pictures on Amazon. So that kind of killed my idea because I wanted to zip tie. I wanted to use a USB extension cable coming down here with the power cable and have them both terminate right here so that if I wanted to move this cart like way out of the way, I could unplug both things right here, because this is just an extension cord. I zip tied it to the table and then it goes into my outlet. Underneath, this is actually a surge protector. It's got 2 outlets. It's got USB power. That's what's actually zip tied to the stand here. But since you can't use a USB extension cable, you have to use a one-piece cable. It's got to be shielded. Unfortunately, this is permanently attached to the table. So I'm going to eventually get a sheath, and I'll put the sheath in the description for the link. But put a sheath on that, and then that's very securely zip tied to the table, because you don't want to unintentionally be pulling the cable out of the control box. That would be bad. And when I say sheath, this is what I mean, a loom. So this is actually my other computer cart I built. When I got my first plasma table, I wanted to use it. And I thought, what better project for a startup project than making a computer cart? And if I had the time for this table, I would have loved to have built another cart like this. It works way better. It's way more solid. I got hydraulic cylinder shafting from my last job. I used to make these nice little cable clamps. That table had a wired pendant. Everything was Ethernet. This actually went to the table. It was 2 Ethernet cables, and then I had a color matched extension cord for it. But that's what went to the table. And then underneath here, I made this hinged shuttable door so you can keep the dust off everything. And then this honestly turned out to be a little bit smaller than it really needed to be, but I was using leftover scrap material. Didn't want to buy anything, but had the bare minimum in here. You had your keyboard, your mouse, monitor, and again, you had that solid state computer, and that's where I learned about these from. Super cheap, super fast. They don't have all the bloatware on them. They work amazing for running a plasma table. This one swivels. You can put the chair underneath it, which is nice. It's not flimsy. It's not going to fall over. You can set crap on top of it. So this guy here, it's a little flimsy, but it's way cheaper than the desk you're going to get from STV. And when I'm not using it, I'll just put a big trash bag over the top of it. And so this screen is huge. I got a great deal on it. I got it for $120. Amazon periodically has them on sale for $120 to $130. Definitely don't buy it when it's $200. But you can temporarily, it's got like a little shock absorber or a strut in the back in that tower. So you can pull this down for whatever reason, it automatically goes back up. It's a little big. I thought it had a slide out keyboard tray, which it did not come with. So I thought my hands would be here. Instead I'm here, and that puts me pretty close to the screen. But the thing I love about this screen is I can take this program, click on your top of your bar, drag all the way to the right, somewhere in the middle of your screen over here. Some over here, drag hard, and then it'll do that. And then you can open another program, do the same thing, and drag it to the left. So now if I want to get on the STV Facebook group or open an owner's manual or something, I can do that on one side of the screen. I can have my AutoCAD drawing open up here, have this open over here. Works great. You do have this little cable organizer under here. I just went over and used a Dremel and widened the slot out on this side to pull my cables through. Might be able to show you over here. It comes with a really skinny, narrow slot that most cables don't want to actually go through. Now this guy does have Wi-Fi. It does have Bluetooth, so I can Bluetooth to my shop speakers. I also have this little Bluetooth speaker box just so that if I'm watching a tutorial video or something on YouTube, I need the audio. You know, I watched all the videos that come with your STV email link. So it's nice to have just something so you can hear, because this monitor does not have sound and this computer box also does not have speakers. You can also Bluetooth to something like your shop stereo though, just to get you something working in a pinch. And then another really nice part about having the wireless keyboard, I can take this over here with me if I need to jog the torch around and eyeball something while I'm moving it. I don't have to have that Xbox or PlayStation controller. I found this is way more precision, way easier to use. There's no reason you can't have two hands on it. You're really not going to use a Xbox controller with one hand anyway. So that's where I'll end this video. Thanks for watching. I'll be back soon with part 3, where we go over the rest of everything that I modified on the table to get started.